For centuries, Viking warriors known as berserkers have been described as fearless fighters who entered battle in a state of uncontrollable rage. According to medieval sources, these warriors fought without armor, felt no pain, and struck fear into everyone who faced them. But the true nature of Viking berserkers remains one of the most debated mysteries of the Viking Age. Were they real elite warriors, or were their stories exaggerated into legend? The earliest accounts of berserkers come from Norse sagas and medieval texts written long after the Viking Age had ended. These sources describe berserkers as men who fought in a trance-like state, howling like animals and ignoring wounds that would normally kill a man. Some accounts claim they were immune to fire and steel. Others say they bit their shields and lost all sense of fear. The problem is that these descriptions were often written by Christian authors who viewed Viking culture as savage and dangerous. This raises an important question. Were berserkers truly supernatural fighters, or were their stories exaggerated to make Vikings appear more terrifying? Archaeological evidence provides few clear answers. Unlike kings or warriors buried with weapons and ships, berserkers left behind no identifiable graves. There are no armor sets or tools that can be definitively linked to them. This absence of physical evidence makes it difficult to separate historical reality from storytelling. However, the fact that berserkers appear repeatedly across different sagas suggests that they were based on something real, even if later stories exaggerated their abilities. One theory suggests that berserkers entered altered mental states through ritual and belief. In Viking society, religion and warfare were deeply connected. Warriors prayed to gods like Odin, who was associated with war, madness, and knowledge. Some historians believe berserkers used intense rituals, chanting, and psychological conditioning to remove fear before battle. By fully believing they were protected by the gods, they may have pushed their bodies beyond normal limits. Another theory argues that berserkers may have used intoxicating substances. Some researchers have suggested that certain plants or mushrooms could cause hallucinations, aggression, and pain suppression. Others believe alcohol combined with ritual could explain the berserker state. However, there is no direct evidence that Vikings intentionally used drugs in battle. These ideas remain speculation, debated among scholars without clear proof. What is especially strange is that berserkers were not always respected. Some Viking laws describe berserkers as dangerous even to their own people. In certain sagas, berserkers are shown being banned, punished, or killed because they could not control their violence outside of battle. This suggests that whatever berserkers were, they were not simply heroes. They were unpredictable and feared, even by fellow Vikings. Over time, as Viking society changed and Christianity spread across Scandinavia, berserkers gradually disappeared from historical records. Whether this was due to cultural shifts, legal restrictions, or the fading of ritual warfare is unclear. By the end of the Viking Age, berserkers had become more legend than reality. Today, historians still debate whether berserkers were elite warriors trained to overcome fear, victims of myth-making by later writers, or something in between. The truth likely lies somewhere in the middle. Berserkers may have existed as real warriors whose behavior was later exaggerated into legend. Without clear archaeological evidence, the full truth may never be known. The story of the Viking berserkers reminds us that much of Viking history exists in a space between fact and myth. Written records, archaeology, and oral tradition do not always agree. And as long as these contradictions remain, the true nature of the berserkers will continue to be one of the Viking Age's greatest unsolved mysteries. Were they unstoppable warriors, ritual fighters, or legends shaped by fear? The answer may be lost to history,